I woke up to the sound of large chunks of steel being dropped on my roof at around 9 o'clock, 8:30 actually, and came to understand that the day had come to cut away the ceiling of my bathroom. And so I didn't really ever get to breakfast. I made myself a cup of tea and began cleaning out the insulation and doing whatever I could to prevent the fire that I knew was coming sooner or later. And they're small fires. No one died.
Actually, we'll be fine. You know, the only potential problem is these pipes. Otherwise, we're fine. There's no more insulation. Yeah.
During the parties, they will bring in a stack of subwoofers, 8 feet tall, 12 feet wide, stack them directly on top of my roof. On bad nights, you can watch the mirrors and you can't see yourself except for a blurred image because the mirrors are vibrating. So I turn on all the white noise generators and I stick earplugs in, and it's not enough, you know. But when you have a goal, when you have a dream, and it's something worth fighting for, these are problems, these are things to tell your grandkids, these are part of the story. I think the only question is, is there enough gas in the tank to keep going? The space that is here, that we're sitting in, didn't look like this 5 years ago. It had no floor, it had no walls, it had no ceiling. It was crisscrossed with 4.5 tons of steel beams. And when I first crawled down inside it, I sat down, and within about 45 minutes, I just looked at all the different corners, looked through the different steel beams and all the rust and the water that was in it. And it was very clear where everything was going to go, the bathroom, the kitchen, the space. My mind just fills stuff in like that. And with no skills whatsoever, which is something I'm embarrassed by, not bragging about, we just, with sort of great enthusiasm, started cutting up steel. Had to learn about oxyaccelerant torches, and wasn't so gifted with that at the beginning. Got some good help on that. And the first step was to move the 4.5 tons of steel and ship out the 1.5 tons of rust and water. And we spent 8 months building this space. It was hard because I had to live in the space while I was building it. That first winter there was no heat, so I was young then, I was only 40. It's insulated. We've completely redone all the electrical last summer in order to get me through this winter. It's all up to code. It's actually legal, though technically it's zoned only for storage, not for actual habitation. I had danced and trained and performed in California till I was 27. I came to New York. I started way too late as a dancer to ever have a fully A-grade professional career. And as a result, I began searching out what can I use for alchemy, for personal transformation. Gyrotonics is an extraordinary system. It is complete in and of itself. It involves basically the idea that tissue conditions itself better through a circular pattern. I've been influenced by that. I can't not be. But I'm also a modern dancer, and I also have a lot of background in terms of counseling work and body work. And so those disciplines inform me in my own teaching and training as well. Given that information, I decided, all right, let me develop some other equipment pieces like this one and here that have the same benefits inherent in what changed me, but also create a context where someone can go further. My goal was not to create equipment. When I began, I had no interest in designing new equipment. I was quite happy with my mentor's equipment. That was just fine. As I began the project, I was trying to create enough equipment that 20 dancers could train at the same time as I demonstrated on a piece of equipment. And I figured once I had accomplished that, I would stop making equipment.
There were a lot of holes.
My friends, my family, all encouraged me to move out of the barge, to join the human race and live in Manhattan. And I hear that. There's also, however, a complementary edge that I find here. The fact that I am always on gives me an edge when I walk into the shop. The fact that I am used to problem-solving extraordinary things, from how do we stop the drip to how do we quiet the drip. As they say, comfort is the enemy of creativity. It's deadly. It will put you to sleep. Out here on the barge, I am painfully awake, and it serves my mission. How do I plan to solve this? I'm failing daily.
Stacked in the corner is all our exotic hardwoods that we need to start shaping into what we call the handle unit.
We rarely run into what I would call a problem with the manufacturing. We run into lots of places where we haven't found the idea that's going to solve the technical dilemma, but that's just a creative exercise at this point. We almost look forward to that because it means, wow, we get to change it. It's going to be really different than we thought. The problems, the limitations, are something that when I began this project at 40, I had not foreseen. There is a captain and there is his ship. And in the hoisting of this heavy dream up to somewhere, I, Bill Hedberg, have become the weak link in the system.
No.
There's a very special, creative, unique individual side of me who creates this wild place and this project. He's doing great. That's not where the problem lies. There's a very normal side of me who has a longing for love, companionship, comfort, safety. The things that if we don't get enough of on a given day result in a kind of fatigue and exhaustion which sleep does not heal. That is where I have failed, and that is what has almost grounded this project. It's warm weather, and I have a promise. I say this in front of videotape that I will not spend another winter here on the barge. I can't. I'll die. I'll physically die. If I quit, if I leave the barge, the dream doesn't happen. This dream of this school does not happen without me. And the life that I look forward to without that dream isn't worth living. So what keeps me going? What gives me the motivation to get up in the morning? I'm after a life worth living. I don't want a mediocre life. I can't stop my dream. I can't stop this project.